Hello, 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 and welcome to Ladies Listen Up with my co-host, Mr. Cherrard. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I think this is a bungee jumping Monday. What you think?
I ain't bungee jumping with you and nobody else. You can keep your bungee jumping. No, ma'am.
Get it? I'm not. I'm faking it. I ain't even playing. I'm not that daring.
I've seen too many videos on what happened when it's not calculated right.
I know that's right. No, I'm with you on that one. I'm adventurous, but I'm not that adventurous. Well, all right, sir. So today we are going to talk about manhood and manhood being taught. I'm going to send a bungee course over to your leg. See what you do with it.
Well, I got the definition of what manhood is, according to the dictionary. And it says the qualities traditionally associated with men, such as courage, strength, and sexual potency. The state or period of being a man rather than a child.
Okay.
And so I always talk about these topics with somebody else. I have a conversation with folks about them, and we're talking about manhood. And I was basically talking to men and women about it.
Okay.
And the cool thing is when you talk to men about it, especially those that have raised their children and been in their children's lives, manhood is not as some would think it a financial thing, right? I mean, I know of a lot of men. There's a lot of women complaining about men now that financially are really in a good position, but mentally they're not men. They're not taking care of their business. They're not putting their priorities first and this and that and the other. And then, I know of men that are not as financially well off as them, but when it comes to taking care of their children and their responsibilities, they're A1 and on top of things. So what I tell any young man is don't allow anybody to attach your manhood to your wallet. Put it that way.
Absolutely. And I absolutely agree. I too have conversations with other people about the topics, prior to. And in this case, something really it just really had me to think. And I was talking to a young man who had some resentment issues towards his father because, as we grow and sometimes when we're young, we don't understand what our parents are teaching us or why they're so hard on us in certain areas and, why they expect so much out of us. We think, oh, they're so hard or they're, I've been called the military mom because I did always make sure that, I poured into my children and I wanted to make sure that they understood. So sometimes they thought I was being more hard on them, but I always thought that, right, when you raise the bar, the children they'll step up to that expectation. And if you don't have any bar or you don't have any expectations of them, then what do they, how are they to be molded or shaped, right? Right. So his issue with his father was that his father passed away, but he said, he had really the audacity to crawl up in a ball and pass away before he taught me what I needed to know to be a man. And I think the reason that he was upset was because while his father was living, he did not teach him the things that he needed to do. So he made some mistakes along the way, which, he had children young, he got involved with an older woman young, she was like almost 30 years older than him. Oh, wow. And so we was having this conversation and he was just saying where, his mom actually was the provider. And so he really had a dad for a mom and didn't get a chance to get what he needed from his dad.
And you said a key word. She was a provider. She wasn't his father. As a lot of women, because we got Father's Day coming up, and there will be a plethora of women saying Happy Father's Day to me, yes. Right? Yeah. The only way you can be the father and the mother at the same time if you're transgender. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Women. You never hear fathers saying, "Hey, Happy Mother's Day to me," on Mother's Day. And the thing is. That manhood thing, those, you see, he was longing for his father to give him guidance, direction. And I wish a lot of women would listen to that. Even though you're saying, hey, I can raise this boy to be a man. Nope, there's something missing. There's still something that you missed along the way. You might have taught him how to go to school, get good grades, taught him how to, be responsible and this and that and the other. But there's things that as men, we learn amongst one another. It's like the wolf pack. When you get with the wolf pack, you gotta learn and roll with them. You gotta eat with the wolves and the things that we teach one another. Women can hear it and then say, yeah, this is how I want you to be. But until you see it, until you see the examples of it, okay, there's a saying about standing 10 toes, on your BS, or just 10 toes and whatever. That's just taking responsibility of it. So your mom can tell you that all day long and say, yeah, it's going to resonate because that's my mom telling me that I need to be 10 toes and firm in whatever it is I'm doing. But when you have your father there telling you and showing you, now you got an example of what I look like as an older man, or the example of who I should be right in front of me. You know what I'm saying? That's that takes on a different impact. That's a different impact.
Yeah, there's something that I think it, and I have to, even throw myself in that same category. As I was, divorced single mom and pouring into my children, I too thought I didn't know. And then sometimes you don't know what you don't know. I knew that I wanted my children, my son especially, to have men to mentor them because his dad wasn't around. So I knew he needed that. For me, I knew that there was something that a man brought to the table that I could not give to him. And I knew I could teach him, the etiquette of, he was little at church and opening the door for women. I could teach him that stuff. But the essence, the pure essence, and I hope my ladies hear that without throwing bricks at me, but the essence of actually being a man, we cannot teach our sons that. We don't have the equipment. We don't have the makeup to teach them because we don't know. We haven't walked in those shoes. So we cannot teach them the essence of being a man. And there is something so important about men teaching men. It is something so important and so essential about that. Teaching them integrity, character, priorities, teaching them just how to treat their significant other, how to treat that one, how to not go around and spread your seed all over the place. It's something essential about a man teaching another a man, so I do believe that manhood is taught, because when it's not, we get a lot of this other stuff going on.
And now look at we spoke about the 70% of Black women being unwed mothers in the community. And they're using that number right there to say that 70% of Black children don't have a father, and that doesn't mean that. It just means that 70% of Black women aren't married, they have children. Okay, we can take that, right? But when I tell women that try to use that number and throw it at me, like, we run our community, this and that, I'm like, well, if we're going to tout that 70% number and we're going to take it and put it and make it mean something other than what it means, then you have to say you failed the Black community then. And I'm going to say you failed it because look at it. It's falling apart. It's getting worse. That's not, see, when we say 70% of unwed mothers, Black mothers are single, that doesn't mean there's not a man around. Mm-hmm. See, what it means is, okay, we're not in the same household a lot of times. Maybe some are. We just not married. You did it. I did it. See, it's men that's still acting like boys out here, right? See, that's why we're saying manhood is taught. If you see a grown man sagging his pants, the young homie gonna think that's cool too. If you see an older man, smacking his woman, bragging about it, okay, all right, that's what the big homie doing. See, what young men don't understand and what they need to realize, if your big homie is leading you down a road or a pathway that's going to lead to your destruction, then he's not a big homie. He's just a big kid in a grown man's body. You feel me? So yes. That's what when I speak to the young homies out there, yeah, man, I've done what you've done. I've been where you trying to get to the whole 9 yards. I'm done with that lifestyle. You know, I'm going to tell you not to do it. But hey, some of these young guys feel like it's necessary. So what I'm telling you is like, yo, be careful out here. You know, be careful, because it's hard to tell these young men to stop hustling and doing these things if you don't have anything readily to replace it with.
Absolutely.
Right. So the manhood part about it is, you know, coming up out of this situation, coming up out of hustling, you know, putting nuggets in their ear to say, you know what, well, dig this. If you're going to hustle, at least put your money to the side, at least do X, Y, and Z. So when you decide to retire from it or get out of it, or however you want to say it, you can move on to the next phase of life, you know. And then, like I'm telling one homie, I'm like, yo, look, well, you got a son. You got to think about the danger that you put him in now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm gonna finish this off. And that's the whole point about the manhood thing. A man coming to talk to a young boy about what it is to be a man and the responsibilities and holding himself accountable for all the things that he may have created. That speaks volumes. Your mom can tell you all day long, boom, 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 boom. Nah, mom, you're nagging. But when pops talk to you, it's a different tone. It's a different energy to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think what you just said about the energy is important. It's a difference, because even during even you know, as those formative years are happening, there's a different dynamic to the relationship with mom and son than there is with dad and son. With dad on, you know, there's that energy, there's that, you know, like you said, just teaching them. And I think, you know, if it's just the feminine energy that the son is getting, then he doesn't know the masculine part of it. He doesn't know, excuse me, expectations of him as a man, other than the mom possibly kind of teaching him what she want in a man, or what the ideal of a man is, you know. And so I think it's the lack of that generational teaching, you know, the actually men being men, and teaching the young boys what it means to be a man, the essence of a man, the essence of manhood, and also being able to let him know kind of, I want to say, what's to come, you know, because sometimes when you think that, you know, when you're being sheltered or shielded from the actual things that come and happen in life, especially with a man, especially, you know, and I will say with the black male, that experience, those things that you need to be careful of when you walk out the door, the attitude that you need to possess. There was one incident with my son that he didn't get it because he didn't hear it from me at first, but he had to be shown it. When we went to, I've always exposed my children to the business arena. So when we go to events and things like that, you know, I would make them my partners, even at a younger age. But I would teach them, this is how you dress. In order to be respected, in order to be seen in a certain way, you still needed to, if we're going to a business meeting, it still required suit and tie, you know, and dress shoes. And so it was funny because we went to a major event, and he walked in and he had his hoodie on, and he had his jeans on. He wasn't sagging, but he had his jeans on, his hoodie on, and his gym shoes. And so the way that he was, you know, like kind of sort of like, you know, kind of I'm not gonna say disrespected, but just wasn't given the, you know, he just wasn't given the respect. Right. Looked over. That's it. That's the right word. He was looked over. But when he came down with his suit and everything going, he had forgot his key. He was now Mr. Blanding. He was now, because he had his suit and his shoe, and he was, you know, postured and everything. He said, "Ma, they gave me the key and they didn't even ask me for ID." He said, "But I bet you I couldn't have got the key when I had my hoodie on." I said, "I bet you couldn't have." He said, "Wow, I get what you're saying." Because his thing to me was, what is oh my gosh, I can't even think of his name right now. Well, one of the big mogul rappers or whatever. He was like, well, he wear his Jay-Z. He was like, well, he wear his pants, you know, he wear jeans and whatever. I said, well, he done made his. You making yours. And if you're going into the arena of the businessman arena, you can't go in there toe to toe with gym shoes and jeans on. So, but go ahead, you interject.
What I'm going to tell them, you know, especially with that, a black man with a hoodie and a white man with a hoodie, or any other nationality with a hoodie other than us, they'll be perceived differently, right? look at the young guy that got killed in Florida by George Zimmerman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon
Mm-hmm.
Martin had a
Right.
hoodie on,
Right.
just walking through the hood, chilling, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Then you have Tamir Rice, 12 years
Right.
old, but
Right.
he's perceived to be a grown man at 12.
Right.
You know, we're looked at differently. So when you got your hoodie on, you know, Hillary Clinton said we look like we're super predators. You know, that's why I could, you know, that's one of the reasons why that whole I don't vote for Hillary Clinton. No, she called black men super predators. Super predators. You know, I cross the street, you know, when I see them coming with their hoodies on and this and that and the other. Joe Biden said we were predators. They look at us differently. We have to present ourselves in a manner that, unfortunately, they're comfortable with. Take the NBA, right? NBA. Remember the Allen Iverson era, the whole nine with the braids, the chains, the hoodie, sitting there chilling during. Then all of a sudden, white folks in the front section were not comfortable with that, so now they made them wear suits. This is a damn basketball game. You know what I'm saying? This is a basketball game, and I'm sitting on the bench with my teammates. But you want me to wear a suit?
Well, this is the thing, though. This is where I understand the you know, the fight for, you know, to change, the fight for things to change. I understand that. But I also understand that the young men need to be taught what the rules of the game is.
Yeah.
So you have to be taught, and you have to know how to engage. You have to know, but it has. But again, it has to be taught. You know, if no, that's why the topic today is manhood is taught. And yes, it is, because if you don't teach the young boys, you don't whatever, then they're saying, well, I have the right. And yes, you do have the right to dress how you want. You have the right to do what it is. But guess what? If you want a certain result in where you are, you need to understand the rules of engagement or change what your goal is. If you see what I'm saying?
And they also have the right to perceive you in whatever manner they want to perceive you in too.
Exactly.
So yeah, I could walk in where, you know, and what I was saying was with depending on where you are, that determines how you dress, right? You go into a business function, what a hoodie, you know, no, homie, that's not how that's not how you roll. You know what I'm saying? You have to go dress for success. You know, that's like going to a job interview with a hoodie on. And it's like, wow, you know.
But see, again, there where I say men teaching men, because me as a mom, I was met with a lot of resistance, even though bottom line is you're not going to a meeting with me in this attire. Now, if you want this position and you want to do this, this is what you will do. So, you know, but I'm glad he got that, you know, that outside from the clerks at the desk to actually reinforce what I was telling him. But again, I believe that it would have been received differently had it came from his father, had it came from a man that he respected. So that's what I'm saying when I say, ladies, you know, again, if the goal is to raise this powerful male, then there needs to be male interaction in his life so that he can know how to follow in those shoes. He can't walk in your heels, so he can't walk in your experience, but he can walk in another male's experience. And like you said, choosing our people, even, you know, even if it's just period, choosing the people that we have in our life. It's like a simulation. The people that you have in your life, you have the right to choose those people and choose those people wisely. You know, even as we're growing up and as we became adults, we needed mentors. We needed to choose people in our life to help us to elevate and get to where it is that we were looking to go. And the other thing is, you know, what's your plan? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we just like walking around aimlessly, letting life happen to us, but actually teaching our young men, you know, that you have the right to decide what you want your life to look like. What do you want? What is, I mean, if you don't know what you want, you don't know what the end result is. It's like me trying to get to California without a map. I'm gonna end up hither, there, and all over the place because I don't know how to get there. So you have to have a plan for your life, and just teaching them. And that's why I think I definitely am in agreement that manhood is taught.
Yeah, I would tell them, my thing is, I was working on something, and then one of the things I said is walk a mile in my shoes, learn the words to my rhythm and to my blues. I don't know what it feels like to be a black woman, and a black woman don't know what it feels like to be a black man. But at the same time, we can empathize with one another because we do suffer some of the same discriminations and some of the same other atrocities out here based on what we look like. But at the same time, I don't know exactly what you go through because I am not you and you're not me. And to somehow say, it's easy being a woman. It's easy being a black man. It's so easy being black. No, it's not. Because when I step outside in the street, I got to worry about other black males out there that's at a low vibrational frequency, and we call them the N-word, but they're really black men at a low vibrational frequency. I got to worry about cops seeing me as he looks like the one that. Case in point, I remember I was driving with my ex-wife. We're coming from Livonia. She picked me up. I picked her up from work, so we're driving home. We're coming down 96. So all of a sudden, I see all these cops fly by. I was like, man, somebody in trouble like a mug, right? So I saw one of the cops go up, up the ramp, but then he came down the embankment on the grass. Next thing you know, I'm cornered. My car is surrounded by a bunch of cops, by Livonia police, right? So I'm sitting there like, what the hell? I'm being funny with her. I was like, what you do? You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, guns drawn, get out the car, the whole nine. I said, okay, bang. I get out. Now, at the time, I'm wearing a starter jacket. So we wore the oversized jackets at the time. So my jacket is over my hand. And I have a broken hand at the time, right? So my sleeve is kind of over it. So when I get out, they're saying I look like this guy that just robbed a woman at a flower shop or something like that. And, so he got me sitting in the grass, the cops, they all around me and this and that and the other. And then I'm like, well, I pulled my sleeve. I said, did he have a broken hand? Dude was like, oh, okay. So he went and talked to his partner. Next thing you know, no, he's not it. Right. But it's like, he says, well, your car fit the description. You fit the description. You didn't even look at me. I was driving. How did you look at me and think I was somebody else? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It's like this is just one instance where I was pulled over and I wasn't handcuffed that moment. But I mean, I just remember growing up getting that on a regular basis. It was funny. It was like if you didn't get stopped by the cops, you ain't doing something right. It was a joke. It happens so often. And that's what I keep telling, I tell women, it's like you have to teach these young men how to handle that emotional situation right there, because you don't want to fly off at the handle, because as we have seen, cops can basically do whatever they want and get away with it. So hey, try to meet them as calmly as possible to de-escalate the situation before it take off somewhere. But unfortunately, a lot of our young men have too many attributes of an emotional woman, and they get in an uproar so quickly. Nah, brother, homie, calm down, man. We don't have to go there like that. And that's why we have a lot of violence in our neighborhood, because we don't have these young men being sat down by the older homies that have come through this situation, that have learned from it and told them, bruh, you don't have to fight everybody. Right. You don't have to, everything is not a confrontation. Sometimes it's okay to walk away. A lot of times, 95% of the time, it's okay to walk away. Sometimes you just can't.
But also teaching them what to do with that anger, because they need to know what to do with it, how to, how to relieve themselves of the anger that they feel for the injustices, for the abuse, or for the, disrespect, how to handle that. And you said something very important. you said men that have come through it successfully. Now you've had that experience and that run-in with the police, and how you handled it without getting angry, without allowing your emotion, because you're already so extremely upset and angry because you've been put in this situation, but how to walk away from that situation alive. You know what I'm saying? But teaching our young men how to be able to navigate that, not just the young men, because I've heard women that have been, arrested and getting into a situation with a female officer that and they were, there were some unjust injustices happening. So, teaching again, this is about manhood though, but teaching our young men how to react in these situations and giving them practical ways and practical applications to actually, what do I do in the moment of?
And you know what? And see, you were saying something about turning your anger into something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we have to teach our young men, from a male's perspective, alchemy. Transmuting something from one thing to another. You have to be able to take that anger, and it's okay to be mad. It is. Mm-hmm. Hey, we all do it. It's what you do when you get mad. It's what you do after you get mad. That's usually the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself, hey, when I get so upset and pissed, whatever, I go hit the weights, hit the bag or whatever, or busy myself with a lot of work, because you got so much fuel and so much energy, you can get some things done. And then by the time you're done with everything, it's like, man, I don't even know what I was upset about, or it wasn't even a big deal. I shouldn't have got upset in the first place. And that's until you get to the point where you could actually face that situation that will usually get you angered and not be angry about it. Just say, usually if somebody says something to you and you react to it, you have to get yourself to a point where, hey, when they say something, it's like, whatever.
Right. Right.
And I've gotten to the point where, when I was coming up, it's like, hey, Cherrard, you're this and that and the other. Instead of arguing back and forth, because my dad told me, why argue with another individual? Because see, from a distance, if you argue with a fool, you can't tell who's who, right? So now, if see, my dad told me it's you're either gonna fight or walk away. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to fight you, because usually the individuals that fight are usually trying to prove something. I don't have anything to prove to you. Now, if you touch me, that's something different.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So that's what's wrong with a lot of these little young homies. They got too much stuff to prove. It's like, bro, who are you proving it to?
Absolutely.
Who are you trying to impress?
Absolutely. I said the same thing about a lie. So, why do I feel that I need to lie to you? You know what I'm saying? Why? And then when you talk about the anger part of it, I taught my grandson, he's 7, and I taught him something because he come in and he was just like, oh, he was so angry. He was like, oh, I'm so angry. I'm so mad right now. And I said, turn around, count to 10. He was like, so he started counting to 10, and then he looked up and he said, Buka, it worked. I'm not angry no more. I said, So every time you get angry, turn around and count to 10. And so I mean, I'm just saying those little things that you can do to because sometimes you have to be your own best friend, your own coach, your own cheerleader, your own, your self-talk. What do you say? What do you tell yourself? Because all this chatter is going on all over the place. People, I mean, you find out a lot of people that are actually truly in your corner, so you have to select and be real selective as who you have around you,
right.
And the mentors that you choose for the young men that may not have somebody to actually mentor them or teach them or what have you. I mean, this is something that I learned even, recently, to actually go and actually find mentors that are even famous people. And model some of their behaviors. And it helps me, because for the longest, I didn't have female role models around me. So every time I would get in contact or like try to befriend them, they would see what my potential was, and then they would use me. And because, my story goes, I was kept on the porch till I was like 17. So I was
Oh, wow.
like a little bit of a slow bloomer. So I didn't really know, but the older women knew. And instead of mentoring me, they would take advantage because they would see what my potential was. And I don't know, for jealous reasons or whatever their reasons were, they would not mentor me to the fullest of the potential. So you have to learn yourself and really, my dad used to say, baby girl, take the blinders off, take the rose colored glasses off, and just see what it is. And then you can still be optimistic about it, but you have the ability to choose whom you have to mentor you. So you can select that. This is all about, being proactive, so I know we've run out of time, so I'm going to give you the final word, sir.
Okay, well, when it comes to manhood is just more than your sexual potency. Manhood is more than just your financial ability to take care of situations and pay bills and this and that and the other. Manhood is just you being accountable for all the things that you have created. Hey, get somebody pregnant? Bam, your manhood is going to dictate, or your lack of may dictate if you are a father or if you are a runaway. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to be a true man about yourself and be a man of your word, the whole nine, you're going to take care of your children. Men are going to stand 10 toes in whatever situation that they're in, and they're going to face that with integrity. Their character is going to be one that can be spoken of like, man, whenever you need help from old boy, or this dude he's loyal. Just listening to what people said about my brother when he passed away, this brother embodied what a true man was. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you get up and hear all the accolades and all the things that he did without him even saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? He never bragged about, I did this today. Man, you sit up here like, man, wow, I'm your brother. We kick it. You don't tell me all the stuff. When a man is just going to be one of those individuals that's going to be a stand-up guy. Yeah, he's going to be mannerable, open the door, the whole 9 yards. That's cool. That's all fine and dandy. But a man is also going to be somebody that can tell you no when it's necessary. It's not all about what I'm able to do for you. Sometimes it's what I'm not going to do for you too. That's a part of being a man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the protect, the provide, and all that other produce, and that's all good. But when it comes to men always reach back for their brothers. We're going to help each other out. When we see the little homies doing wrong, we correct them. And it's very, very, very vital that as men in our Black community, when we see these young dudes out here stepping out of pocket and doing wrong, and you see that there's no mailman, hey, you ain't got to stand there all the time. Give them a nugget here and there until they become curious about what it is you're saying and seek you out. And just be there. Just be there for them.
One last quick thing. The gentleman that I was talking about before, what would you suggest how he relieves himself of the resentment that he feels?
Well, for one, it's for himself to forgive. Because see, once you forgive, you'll release that burden see, hatred only harms the host. Stress will kill you. It will break down your immune system. So all that anger he may feel inside about his dad not being able to teach him what a man was before he died, it's too late, homie. He can't teach you anything now. But what you can do is forgive him to release that part, right? Release that's dead energy. That energy is going to kill you, right? Now, what it is now, all the things that you think he didn't teach you or whatnot, seek out and get around men that you feel are doing the things that you want to do or that you respect. Brother, you still a man. You're more of a man if you ask questions, if you admit, hey, I don't know this. Hey, I can't barbecue. I've never barbecued a day in my life. I don't shoot dice. I don't shoot pool. But if I want to know these things, I reached out to the homie. I was like, yo, man, I want to barbecue this year. Yo, I'm going to buy a little grill, man. Can you teach me how to do it? I'm not afraid to say I don't know. So that's what he has to do. Release that energy and get with individuals you feel are on the path you want to travel and rock from there.
Awesome. I'm going to send him this podcast. So I know our time is gone, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes, ma'am.
don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with somebody else. Stay fearless. Bye for now.